all the products and services we provide by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Taylorville Estates assisted living residents are treated like family. It's where they encourage independence and enrich lives. Check for vacancies or get on the waiting list by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman, and I'm joined by Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, or one of the Public Affairs Specialists with SSA. It's Jack Myers. Jack, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Grayson. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing good, and I appreciate you asking. Well, Jack, we got a loaded slate to try and get to here today, so let's start quickly here and get to it. Last time we talked, there was some confusion that we were trying to sort through when it came to proving your identity with the Social Security Administration. What is there to know about proving your identity as of today, April 23rd?
Yeah, Grayson, I think it's a real important topic that we touch on here because there are still a lot of questions out there. There were some changes to our policy that were effective on April 14th, but really it's not going to affect that many people. Social Security is strengthening the process to prove identity related to direct deposit information. And as I mentioned, these changes became effective on April 14th, but it's not something where everybody has to prove identity to Social Security. So I want to make sure people are aware of that. It's only going to be a select few people who are going to have to do this. For example, individuals are still going to be able to complete all claim types via telephone, but now that's going to be supported by some new anti-fraud capabilities that are designed to protect beneficiaries and streamline the customer experience. So the enhanced technology is going to allow us to identify suspicious activity in telephone claims by analyzing patterns and anomalies. So if we detect any kind of irregularities, at that point, the individual would be asked to complete in-person identity proofing. So they would have to come in with ID at that point to continue processing of their claim. So, Grayson, what that essentially entails is if we take certain types of applications over the phone, we'll hang on to them for a few days before we process them, just to allow these fraud tools an opportunity to run in the background. And then if any irregularities are noticed, we'll reach out to the individual and say, hey, we need you to come in with ID. We'll set up an appointment for that. Or you could come in without an appointment, depending on your preference and schedule. And then we'll take it from there. So it's really not going to be too big of a deal for folks. I don't think it's going to be too big of an inconvenience. But then the other way you could do this is, you could do your application on our website. So if you go to socialsecurity.gov or ssa.gov, if you file through your My Social Security account, you're authenticating your identity that way. So you could do that easily and conveniently through the website, and then you wouldn't have to worry about coming in most circumstances. But then the other people that are going to have to come in are going to be those who are changing direct deposit and can't do that through the website. So those are things that are going to require in-person verification of identity if you want to make some sort of change to the way we deliver your Social Security or supplemental security income payment, and you're not able to do that through the ssa.gov website.
I appreciate you kind of explaining those things, and it does sound like the easiest and probably most secure way still being online, but certain things not being able to go through there. If somebody still prefers to do a phone claim, which some will, you mentioned that if something comes up, an irregularity, that the Social Security Administration or a representative will contact them. In light of all the scams and all the different things that are going on, and somebody that might be fearful that might not be somebody with Social Security, how will you guys contact that individual to let them know that an irregularity did come up?
Well, initially we would try to contact that individual by phone, but keep in mind, Grayson, that this is going to be within a few days of having spoken to one of our representatives to file your application. So a scenario where this might play out is, you have an appointment today with a Social Security representative, you file an application over the phone. That representative is going to talk to you a little bit about this new process and let you know that, hey, most likely we'll be able to process this to completion without you coming in, but I'll hold it for a few days, and then if something shows up and we need you to come in, I'll give you a call back. So you're going to be familiar with that individual, and it's going to be within a few days of when you spoke to them to file your application. Now, if we're unable to get back in touch with you via phone, then we would send you a letter. But the initial contact will be a phone call. And like I said, though, it's going to be within a few days of when you spoke to the representative to file your application over the phone. So I wouldn't classify this as something that's coming out of the blue, because it's going to be very close to when you file that application over the phone.
And you should be actively engaged in it as well, and have that understanding. But just in case, I just wanted to allow that to be thrown out there. Well, I want to get to your next point here and do so quickly. Representative payees help you manage your Social Security. This is not like a spousal benefit or anything like that. Like we talked previously, a representative payee. Who is that? Who could that be? And what's that look like in terms of managing your Social Security?
Yeah, so basically this is not, as you mentioned, this is not a new type of benefit, but rather it's something that some people who receive Social Security or supplemental security income benefits need. As you know, we work with people who are receiving benefits because of certain disabilities that may make them unable to manage their own affairs. We work with people who receive retirement or surviving spousal benefits, up until the point that they pass away. And so, at everybody's life is different. Everybody's journey, everybody's path is different. And so, as you progress through life, sometimes people do get to a point where they're no longer able to manage their own affairs or direct the management of their finances. And in those circumstances, we have what we call the representative payee program. So your representative payee would be someone who receives your monthly benefit on your behalf and then uses that money to pay for your current needs. So it remains your benefit, it remains your money, but they are somebody who is getting that money on your behalf and then making sure that your needs are met. This person would ideally be someone that you see often, who is in a position to easily help you with your current needs. But sometimes, Grayson, there isn't an individual in our lives who can do this. And in that circumstance, organizations such as social service agencies, nursing homes, or others could fill that role of representative payee. There is something that we call advanced designation. So when you apply for Social Security benefits, we'll ask you, in the event you become incapacitated or unable to manage your own affairs, are there individuals that you would like to identify now who would be good candidates to serve as your representative payee? So if you want to name those people up front, you can name up to 3 people. And basically, that would just serve as a lead for us down the road if you need a payee and aren't in a position at that point in time to tell us who some good candidates would be. Doing this, Grayson, does not indicate in any way that a person needs a payee right now. It also is not a permanent designation. So if you change your mind down the road, or that person you named themselves becomes incapacitated before you do, you can always go in to your My Social Security account and change that, or you can contact us at a Social Security office and change that. So it's really just something you could do proactively to identify a few people. A lot of times people will name their spouse or adult children, people that they're close to, that they trust,
Sure.
that could potentially serve that role if a need ever arises down the road.
And that being advanced designation. And to me, that seems like probably the best way for you to feel comfortable still that your Social Security benefits will be managed properly by somebody that loves and cares for you already. But if you do not have an individual like that in your life, find somebody trusted at various organizations like a nursing home or things of that nature as well. That being advanced designation and representative payees, Discussing here is Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration. Jack, we got just another moment here before we take our first break. Checking the status of your Social Security benefit claim online. What would you like to tell me about there?
Yeah, so, a lot of times when people apply for benefits with Social Security, they are kind of anxious, right? I mean, it's a big point in your life. It's an important thing that you're doing. You're applying for Social Security, and you kind of want to know what the status of that application is. So if you have access to the internet, you can create a My Social Security account. So go to ssa.gov/myaccount. Once you are logged into your account, you can check the status of your Social Security application. You can check the status of an initial application or appeals if you're at the reconsideration and hearing level. You can get a lot of good info right there through your My Social Security account. You can see things like the date you filed your application, the current claim location, the hearing date, if one is scheduled, if that's applicable, if you're at that point in the process. That would be just for appeals, Grayson, so that's not going to be something that everybody's going to see. But if you've started an application online, but it's not complete, you'll see that as well. And that's a really big thing because sometimes people think they finished the application and they've submitted it to us, but they really haven't. So being able to see that in your claim status section is very helpful. Other things you can see, links to publications of interest, depending on the type of application that you filed. So if you're interested in that, you want to get that started, set up your account today at ssa.gov. You can go to www.ssa.gov/myaccount.
Should be pretty easy to do so there. ssa.gov/myaccount and have that overall comprehensive picture of where your Social Security benefits lie. Well, again, joining us here is Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, Jack Myers. Jack, we'll come back around and we'll talk about maybe you are eligible for SSI or Social Security benefits and you just don't know about it quite yet. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn lower, beans higher, wheat trading lower. May corn down 4 3/4, 471. July corn down 5 1/4, 478. New crop December 453 1/4, down 4 3/4. May beans up 6 1/2, 1041 3/4. July beans up 5 1/2, 1051 1/2. New crop November 1027, up 1/2 penny. May Chicago wheat 531 3/4, down 3 3/4. July wheat down 3 3/4. 546 1/2. May bean meal 292.40, that's up 50 cents. May bean oil 47.66, up 8 cents. Livestock market, May feeders 288.47, up $1.55. April live cattle up $1.52, 212.90. May lean hogs down 55 cents, 91.67. Energy market, June crude oil 61.82, down $1.85. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
This is Joe Wills with People's Bank and Trust, where customers have one business banker who understands their business and provides the right financial services to achieve their financial goals. Your business banker is your single source for all your financial needs, from cash management to lines of credit, from mortgages to equipment loans, and everything in between. Call me at 888-PBT-1954. At People's Bank and Trust, we put people first. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Farm accidents and work-related illness cost over $5 billion a year. This waste of life, limb, and property can be reduced if we all take a stand for better health and safety. Please set an example for those around you.
Today and every day in 2025, think and practice safety first.
This safety message is sponsored by Osborneville Grain and Blue Mountain, where customer service is our priority year-round.
It's no secret that employers are having a difficult time hiring qualified personnel, whether full or part-time. The Miller Media Group wants to help you, the employer, to find the candidates you're looking for. That's why we've created IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. This website is part of a broad radio and internet employment campaign available through the Miller Media Group. Contact your account manager or email sales at randyradio.com for more information. IllinoisJobPost.com is where we put the power of radio and the internet to attract prospective candidates.
To learn more about Rolling Meadows Senior Living in Taylorville and the apartments they have available, click on their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Jansen's Heating and Air is the home of Dr. Comfort, focusing on customer care for heating and air conditioning across Central Illinois for some 35 years. Find out their services, specials, and coupons by clicking their icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show, which is brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. Joining me in this segment here is Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration. We talked about checking your status with Social Security benefits. We also talked about representative payees and what to know about proving your identity. We want to turn the page to the fact that you might be eligible for SSI and Social Security benefits and just don't know it. Jack, what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so, Grayson, a lot of people are familiar with the Social Security benefits that we administer from our Social Security offices. Those are the benefits that are based on the Social Security taxes that are deducted from your paycheck during your working years. But there's another benefit that we offer. It's not based on your work history. The benefits from the Supplemental Security Income Program come from federal tax dollars, but it's just basically general federal tax dollars that are used to pay SSI benefits. And SSI benefits are needs-based. So a person has to, meet certain criteria, either have a disability or be 65 or older. And then you have to have limited income, limited assets. But, one of the things that I wanted to mention here is that there are situations where people can sometimes qualify for SSI and Social Security. And, basically that would be in a circumstance where your monthly Social Security benefit before any deductions is below the SSI threshold. So right now the SSI rate is $967 a month. That's the maximum. If your Social Security is less than that, then you could potentially get SSI in addition to your Social Security. Now, between the two, you won't get more than $987 a month. But if you're below that, you could potentially qualify for some SSI to go along with that Social Security. So if you're interested in that, remember, you got to have limited income and limited assets. For an individual, the asset limit is $2,000. For a married couple, it's $3,000. But we can exclude the value of your home if you live in it. And we also can exclude the value of one vehicle. So there is a chance that you would qualify. If you want to find out more info, you could look this up online at ssa.gov/SSI, or of course, give us a call at 800-772-1213.
You got to go find out. You got to find out about that. If there's even a prospect of it, it's worth digging into as well. Jack, we've got some time here as well. Just about a minute to go here before we have to wrap up. Planning your future during what is apparently Financial Literacy Month. We talked a little bit about how Social Security benefits and SSI might be able to help you do it, but how do we plan for our future in such a pertinent month, apparently?
Absolutely. It is Financial Literacy Month, where we promote financial education and well-being in the United States. And it serves as a reminder that Social Security is a vital part of any financial plan. So you should be taking a look at your Social Security statement that's available online within your My Social Security account. So, ssa.gov/my-account. Take a look at what your future Social Security benefits will be potentially. A lot of times, we've heard different things that through the years. I've heard metaphors about retirement being a three-legged stool. Basically Social Security is one leg, but you're going to need to have personal savings, pension, 401k, other types of income in retirement in order to have a stable financial situation. So, taking a look now at what that future Social Security benefit will be a good step towards getting that successful retirement plan that we all strive for.
Think about it like a three-legged stool. I like the way that an analogy like that sometimes can put it into perspective for us. Well, Jack, we are out of time, but thank you so much for joining me here on the morning show, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Grayson.
Of course. I look forward to hearing from you next month. Again, we have just been Speaking with public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration, Jack Myers. Jack let us know about planning for your future, representative payees, and much, much more. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show, which is brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. We'll be back around with more tomorrow morning on WTIM, your information station.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It may make some of the foods we buy less colorful, but in the end, proponents say they'll be much healthier. The FDA ordering an end to the use of synthetic dyes in food products.
For the last 50 years, we have been running one of the largest uncontrolled scientific experiments in the world on our nation's children without their consent. And today, we are removing these petroleum-based chemicals from their food supply.
FDA Commissioner Marty McCary. It has forced several thousand people to flee their homes. A massive wildfire raging in Ocean County, New Jersey, not far from the Jersey Shore. The blaze briefly closed a stretch of the busy Garden State Parkway, which has since reopened. Almost 9,000 acres have been charred, more than 1,300 structures threatened in Ocean and Lacey Townships, New Jersey. Parental rights and religious convictions. They're at the heart of a case out of Maryland, now being considered by the U.S. Supreme Court.
It's all about the right to remove their children from elementary school classes using storybooks with LGBTQ themes and characters. Tuesday's case is the latest dispute involving religion to come before the High Court. The justices have repeatedly endorsed claims of religious discrimination in recent years. Parents sued after the Montgomery County school system stopped allowing them to pull their kids from lessons that included the books. Keith Peters, Washington.
President Trump says he will not try to fire Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, although the president says he does wish the Federal Reserve would lower interest rates. And the president's remarks may be contributing to today's rally underway on Wall Street, with the Dow up 903 points, the NASDAQ trading 609 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? With mixed messages, fad diets, the quick fix injections, even magic coffee. I mean, it's overwhelming. Most people are exhausted trying to fight a battle they cannot win. If you feel this way, trust me, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Do what I did. I called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition 3 years ago. I lost 53 pounds. I feel terrific, and I've kept the weight off. Make the phone call that can change your life the way it has changed mine. They won't let you fail. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020 to schedule your consultation. The first 11 callers who mention the word healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call now, 855-696-2020. Mention the keyword healthy to get 2 free weeks, or visit them at myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com.
Elon Musk's days as a key presidential advisor could be numbered. Musk says that starting next month, he'll be dedicating more time to Tesla.
What he said was that he would continue to serve at the pleasure of the president 1 to 2 days a week, as long as Donald Trump wants him to continue this work in slashing the government workforce and the ongoing work at Doge. So that's what we expect. This scaling back of that work is set to take place in Musk's telling next month, so in May. And this is something that analysts who have long followed this company wanted Musk to do for quite some time now.
The BBC's Lily Jamali. Security's been beefed up across the Indian-controlled Kashmir region a day after an attack killed at least 26 people, most of them tourists, as Indian forces launched a manhunt for the perpetrators of one of the deadliest attacks in the region. News and analysis at townhall.com. The EPA fires, then reassigns 455 environmental justice staffers.
The Environmental Protection Agency will fire 280 staffers that worked on tackling pollution in overburdened and underserved communities and will reassign another 175. These staffers worked in an area known as environmental justice, which helps communities that face a disproportionate amount of pollution, especially minority or low-income communities. The EPA has framed its efforts to cut these programs, including its previous closure of environmental justice offices, as part of a push to end diversity programs in the government. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
A federal review of helicopter safety around some of the country's busiest airports has revealed dangerous flying conditions at the Las Vegas airport. The review was prompted by
by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grace.